is based on observing the sun. So there's this thing that we now call a Group E complex. It comes from Washaktun, and it's a very stale kind of name, but it's just because that's where it was first found, in the E sector of an archaeological site. But what they do is they're similar throughout the Maya region, and it's a complex of really 4 structures. There's one long platform that's in the east, and then there's a symmetric pyramid that's opposite it to the west. And what you do is, if you sit on this western symmetric pyramid and you look and you watch the sun rise, it rises behind the southernmost temple on the winter solstice, and then you pass time until you get to the spring equinox, and then you'll see the sun rise behind that middle temple, and then you go all the way up to the summer solstice and you'll see the sun rise behind that. So that it's marking kind of the 4 stations of the sun with that astronomical complex that goes all the way back to, hundreds BC. Well, so they were really good at doing solar and lunar stuff from very early on.
Is Chichen Itza, is the Pyramid El Castillo at Chichen Itza, is it a calendar in a way, a timekeeper to tell the seasons so that they would know when to plant their crops and when to harvest, perhaps?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that, again, some of that comes from the early scholarship that was looking for the anchor. What is this astronomy doing? But, I mean, if you go back and you look at these spaces, you look at the post-classic Chichen Itza, for example, which starts to flourish in around 800 AD, they already have over 1,000 years of familiarity with agriculture in the region. There's all kinds of different signs in the environment, and there's all kinds of different conditions that they have to adapt to. They're not going to need a calendar that just tells you, okay, on this day you need to plant. It's not that kind of thing. The calendars are more for organizing social activities. So you have calendars to set ritual events, festivals. I think we do a disservice when we don't recognize that so much of their religion was also their economy, right? So if you're going to have...
why was their religion their economy?
So if you're going to have a festival dedicated to Kukulkan, say, and it's going to be on the equinox, then you're going to need to have all kinds of pomp and circumstance to go along with it. You're going to have people making these gigantic, beautiful feather fans. So you're going to put all these feather workers to work. You're going to need ceramic vessels. You have to give these off as gifts to all of your noble guests who are coming from different places. You're going to put your ceramicists to work. You're going to make these very incredible, we call them eccentric flints. So they're these stone tools that have these crazy shapes, and they're just unreal in terms of the technical expertise going on to create those. You need to put those guys to work. So any given festival also meant that you were driving the economy. They knew that. They weren't just, okay, we're doing this because we're pleasing the gods. They were taking care of their population at the same time.
There was maybe 50,000 people in Chichen Itza, maybe?
A given site at Chichen Itza, I don't know what the current estimates are, but that would not be unreasonable, or larger. Some of the biggest sites from the classic period, like Tikal, they speculate over 100,000 people. I mean, that's a really complex organization. You're not going to align a pyramid in a city of 100,000 people because you need to know when to plant corn, right? And so some of these early theories that are in the published literature, you can go to articles that will say, they set this orientation of a structure because they were trying to figure out when to plant corn. That is just, I think, it's an oversimplified theory.
Well, there might be a pyramid inside the pyramid at El Castillo, and then outside of the pyramid, there's another structure that was started and abandoned maybe 400 years prior. So I don't know when the Maya moved in, was living there in Chichen Itza, and I wonder what was the purpose, if not as a calendar. I mean, was it a tomb? What was maybe the purpose of the pyramid in Chichen Itza?
So it's a fascinating aspect of Mayan archaeology, is that a lot of the time what they would do is, well, we get there and we see the very final stage of a city, but there was this long development behind it. The site of Copan in Honduras has been excavated for over 100 years by Harvard University, and so it has one of the longest excavation records, and so it's the most excavated. And what's really neat is that we have these wonderful maps that show how Maya kings would start off and they would say, okay, I'm going to set up this temple, and this is going to be my ritual center. I'm going to perhaps do rituals here that are important for the community. This will be the center of the town as well. We'll have a plaza in front of it. We'll do dances and ceremonies out in front of it. This will be where we gather. We'll have a ball court here so we can play ball. This will be the center of the town. Then a couple of generations later, king says, well, you know, that's kind of a small temple. I think we should really have a bigger one. And so he'll break it down, turn it into rubble, maybe preserve a little bit, probably inter the original king there after they die, so it becomes a tomb, and then build a level platform on top of it. Put their pyramid, or put their temple on top of the new base. So what you've done is you've just created this little mini mountain, and you've put a new temple on top of that mountain. Then a couple of generations later, the guy says, you know what, this is not big enough. I have a friend up the street who has this fantastic city, and his pyramids are even larger than ours. Let's make another one. So they'll bust that one up a little bit, and then start to build around that. Yeah, it was a lot of work.
Climbing the pyramids, you realize, you know, gee, you're really happy that you didn't have to carry all the heavy stones in such hot weather.
Yeah.
I'd like to know more about the ball courts and the ball games and so much more. What do we know about the ball games? Was it like soccer?
Ball game is really, it
we
is
have
a
like
fascinating,
1 minute.
Fascinating aspect because it goes back so far. I mean, rubber balls are the same science that we have in tires today, vulcanization, but it was invented 1600 BC, if not earlier. But what they are is they're solid rubber balls that you can't hit it with your hand, you can't hit it with your arm, you can't be cavalier with these things. You can only use the largest bones in your body to hit them back and forth.
This is fascinating, and we're going to get back to this because I also heard that they set the balls on fire and had to get them through these little rings. Anyway, my guest has been Gerardo Aldana, and we're talking everything Mayan. Stay with us. I'm Donna Lynn. We're going to part 2. So thank you for watching Travel Angel, and thank you. See you next time. Bye. So yeah, this is totally fascinating.
Was that really 28 minutes?
That was 28
you
minutes.
You are kidding.
No.